They're ringing their bells now with their victory, but they'll still be wringing their hands. It's going to be an absolute nightmare with a tiny majority and stuck with it for 5 years. Unlike Harold Wilson, they can't escape and go for an early election. They'd have to persuade 2/3 of the MPs to do that. So they're going to have a real Calvary of a journey on this. They're going to find it absolutely miserable. And you can see the DUP leaders and the nutcases on the back benches of the Tory party preparing for it already. They're salivating at the idea of the blackmail they'll be able to get into.
So you think there's a real chance that Labour could win the next election in 2020?
Yes, I think those commentators who are saying it's going to take 10 years are completely misguided. If Labour makes the right choice and it understands why it lost, then it can easily win next time. There's a good chance to be in opposition, a good chance to win a big majority next time round.
And why, in your view, did it lose?
I think it's perfectly clear. It wasn't the campaign. Everyone says their campaign was the best. It wasn't Ed Miliband. Everyone seems to think Ed Miliband did very well on the campaign trail. So it was a fairly simple thing. They tried to run from the left. And since 1945, the Labour Party has not been able to win from the left. And I don't think it ever will be able to. Some people in the Labour Party thought the centre ground had shifted to the left. It hadn't. It's in the same place. So when we run from the centre left, we win. And when we don't, we won't. And so next time round, we have to adjust to that.
The problem is that people associate the centre-left with New Labour and with Tony Blair, who, because of his foreign adventures, has become toxic in British politics.
Yeah, but I think surely we can now move on from all of that. I mean, it's been some time.
Chilcot hanging over us still.
Yes, but Chilcot is about the past. This is choice of the New Labour leaders about the future. You've got to choose someone who comes from the centre-left, who understands why we lost, who can put forward a convincing vision of the future and can win. That's what we need to have. It's no good being a perfect opposition and polishing our ideological credentials. That does absolutely no good for the people we represent. People we represent want a government, and a government with a decent majority.
Now, how would that, for example, help you get Scotland back, where a party to the left of Labour has supplanted Labour?
Well, I have my doubts about the SNP being left. I mean, in my experience, the SNP is left and right. It's a bit like the Liberals. They try and be a bit of each, and when they have to go into government, it becomes a bit of a problem, because they have to choose between the two things. So I think you may well see this as the SNP high watermark. I'm glad they're celebrating now, because I suspect, as they have to make difficult choices up north of the border, they're going to find themselves suffering both north and south of the border.
So if you look at Labour, have you chosen a candidate yet?
No, I haven't chosen a candidate, and I think my support would be a kiss of death. But I just hope that someone sensible wins this, and I think someone from a new generation. As I say, I think we need to move down a generation, the same way that Tony Blair was moving on from Neil Kinnock, Neil Kinnock was moving on from Michael Foot. We need to move on to a younger group of people.
So not Yvette Cooper or Andy Burnham?
I think we want to have people who aren't associated with the old battles, people who come with clean hands, if you like.
And, I mean, that looks like Chukwuemeka or Liz Kendall, or maybe some people are talking about Tristram Hunt. I mean, do you see all of those as viable?
I think someone who sets out a convincing analysis of why we won, who sets out a convincing vision for how we can win next time round, from that younger generation would be the right person to choose.
And does whoever takes that role have to do what David Miliband was planning on doing, which is to say, yes, we did get some of our economic decisions wrong, particularly from the mid-2000s onwards?
To be honest, I think by 2020 we're going to be looking at a rather different sort of equation. And assuming the 5-year Parliament rule holds, that's not really going to be the key issue.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, you only have to look at the question time in Leeds. It's clearly something that's on the public mind, that they can't trust Labour with the economy.
Yes, well, that's the issue. I mean, the reason we lost is because they went into the voting booths and they thought, do we trust this party with the economy? And that's what we have to convince them.
Admitting that you did make mistakes, that you didn't, to use the cliche, repair the roof when the sun was shining.
I mean, the idea that the Labour Party caused the global economic crisis is ridiculous.
No, but
did we get
to Britain's problems?
Did we get everything right in terms of economic policy and government? No, we didn't. We did try and spend too much in certain areas.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is now you've lost this election, isn't it time, whether it's a bum rap or not, to simply say, yes, we got it wrong, and this is why we're going to get it wrong?
I think it's part of a bigger picture of establishing economic credibility. We worked incredibly hard to get economic credibility in 1997 and to maintain it in government. We need to get it back. That will be one part of it, but there'll be a much bigger canvas on which they had to draw a new economic policy. Also
going to be elections for London mayoral candidate this year and deputy leader, with Tommy Watson, Caroline Flint and possibly Stella Creasy saying they're going to run. Would you care to pick a candidate for either of those?
No, I wouldn't. I'm focused on how do we pick up ourselves after this defeat, work out why we lost, and make sure that it doesn't happen again, particularly at the national level.
Jonathan Powell, thank you.
Thank you.